What's up everybody, Matt Maran here for another weekly updates. There's lots of exciting news to go over here this week, and the first news story is that Audi has revealed a competition package for the 2023 RS5 and RS5 Sportback. And so it's a $16,100 package, and it takes the competition title a little more seriously than BMW does, because this thing is pretty aggressive with its changes. So it swaps the adaptive suspension for a set of coilovers that can be adjusted manually by the owner with tools, the old-fashioned way, which is pretty wild. It also gets a thicker sway bar in the front, Pirelli P0 Corsa tires, which are super aggressive, on 19-inch wheels instead of the larger wheels you see these days on other things. And there's also a bunch of tuning changes. So the rear diff has been enhanced for greater agility. The all-wheel drive system can now send more power rearward, although Audi didn't say by how much. The steering ratio has now been fixed to 13.1:1, and the transmission has been reprogrammed for faster shifts. The top speed is 6 miles per hour higher, now going to 180 miles per hour for the top speed. And even the ABS system has been retuned for a 6.5 foot shorter stopping distance from 62 miles per hour. And that's with the carbon ceramic brakes, which are standard here on the competition version. Lastly, they got rid of 18 pounds of sound deadening by the firewall to provide more real engine sounds, which is also great news. And for the non-performance stuff, on the outside it gets carbon fiber for the front lip, side mirrors, and rear diffuser, plus it gets the usually optional gloss black trim as standard. There's also an exclusive Sebring black color that's available, which is what you're seeing here. Inside it gets unique Dynamica and Napa seat upholstery, so basically like an Alcantara type thing with the leather on the sides. And there's also Alcantara for the steering wheel, shifter, and center console. But anyway, it's going to be costing $93,095, including destination for the coupe, and an extra $300 for the Sportback version. And they'll be available to order here in June. So cool to see that. BMW this week has shown off a refresh for the 3 Series for the 2023 model year. So this will be arriving in July, and on the outside you can see it gets sharper designs for the bumpers and headlights, along with new wheels and colors. On the inside it gets the newest gauges and curved infotainment screen from the iX that's now spreading across many of the new 2023 BMWs. We just saw it on the X7 as well. And so it's a 14.9-inch screen with a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster still. And then the dashboard and the air vents have also been redesigned to accommodate that bigger screen. And other changes are that it loses the traditional shifter for now having a tiny little toggle like the other new BMWs as well. So that's another thing that enthusiasts might be a little bit bummed about. Mechanically, it's all carryover for the engine, so no new changes there. But I'm just thankful it didn't get the huge grille from the M3 or some kind of weird split headlight thing, since they've been doing that with the 7 Series and stuff. Thankfully, it still has a restrained grille, and yeah, I think it's a really nice change there for the 3 Series, but let me know what you think about it in the comments below. Other BMW news here, they officially teased the XM, which is the first standalone flagship M model here, and even though it's covered in camo still here, we can see somewhat of what it looks like. It's going to be fairly similar to the concept, although up front it looks like it's ditching those small headlights for some type of LED projector combination like we saw again on the X7 and 7 Series. Instead of having unique styling for a change, BMW is just doing copy and pasting, it seems like, with this split headlight arrangement being put on everything. But it does look like the grille is slightly smaller than what we saw in the concept originally, which they might as well have called the Angry Birds edition because of how large that grille looked. But anyway, thankfully, it looks like it might be a little bit more restrained. We'll have to wait till we see, the thing without camo. But the back end looks to be more true to the concept, with taillights and exhausts that appear to be pretty similar to that concept car. And it'll be a plug-in hybrid V8 with 650 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque, plus they're claiming 30 miles of electric range as well. BMW claims it'll also handle well thanks to near 50-50 weight distribution and all the suspension toys and tricks BMW's M division can throw at it, which is great, but it's still a massive SUV, so I feel like we have to have fairly low expectations still. I mean, obviously it's going to be impressive nonetheless. Obviously there's lots of very impressive SUVs, but it's not going to be anything wild, I don't think, as far as the handling goes. But there's no word on when the reveal will be happening for the production version here, but it'll be starting production in South Carolina in December, so we shouldn't have too much longer to wait. But anyway, interesting to see that. Honda has shown us the first clear look at their first electric vehicle here for the United States. It's going to be called the Prologue, and so so it's the one that'll be using the GM Ultium platform that we've been hearing about, their partnership where General Motors is providing the Ultium platform for this and also for an Acura version of this. And they'll be the first EVs here for Honda in the States. And strangely though, Honda, even in this release, highlighted that their own platform for their EVs is going to be coming just 2 years later in 2026. So it's kind of strange that they, rushed out these ones with, this one in 2024. I mean, obviously 2 years, I guess, is kind of a big deal with how fast things are moving. But, instead of just waiting until 2026, they hurried up into this quick partnership thing with GM, which I feel like is going to be a nightmare for dealers, especially service techs, having to learn an entire new GM electric platform, which already EV stuff's a little bit foreign to most, of these dealerships. But then not only that, but then just 2 years later, switching to a brand new electric architecture, which will function probably totally differently, and that'll be the stuff going forward that'll have that. So anyway, I think it looks great though as far as the sketch here. I think it looks distinctive without trying to look too wild or spacey. And I think it'll blend in nicely again for those who don't want something that's, super wild and in your face. And along with that, Honda also showed off their new dealership design, which looks very cool, kind of mid-century modern. I think it's a pretty cool look, but let me know what you think about all that stuff in the comments below. And Mercedes has a couple big news stories here this week. First off, they revealed the Vision AMG, and the teaser last week looked like it was going to be an actual coupe, but it actually is a four-door sedan coupe thing, and the production version will be aimed directly at the Porsche Taycan and the Audi RS e-tron. So it's on a new platform dedicated to only AMG models called AMG EA, and the production version is supposed to arrive in 2025, and AMG CEO says, "We're developing everything from scratch, from the dedicated AMG EA platform to the revolutionary drivetrain technology with which we will take performance electric mobility to a whole new level." And I'll expand more on that in a second. But like the Vision EQXX concept car we just saw not too long ago, the focus of this car and its production version will be a very low, long wheelbase. It's much longer than a Taycan, at least as far as the wheelbase goes. But they did this in order to achieve the best aerodynamics and downforce for both impressive range and impressive performance. The car is also going to have some active aero as well on the production version to help with that goal of, having that dual personality. The lighting elements you see here also preview what the production car will have, meaning that pointed star inspired headlight design will transfer over. I'm not sure how that will actually project light because it just looks like accents currently, but supposedly that is intended for production or some form of that. Also, those illuminated grille slats you're going to be seeing on the production car, and even the afterburner looking taillights there in the back, which are actual cylinders, they say. They go deep in there, which is super cool. I'm very excited. I don't know, I just really like the way those taillights look. Very sweet, just along with also having that little LED strip along the ridge of the trunk lid there, which will be a hatch, by the way, they said. So that'll be also great, have a little bit of extra versatility with that. And so, yeah, all seems very promising. We'll see, how much changes for the production version, of course, in a few years. But they also said this car will be debuting their new axial flux motors, which they say deliver substantially more power than conventional electric motors while still being light and compact. So very cool. They're going to have some, new developments here already with electric motors. And this is the kind of stuff I, talk about a lot where, now that all this money is being invested in this stuff, you're going to see electric motors evolve to have much better range. You'll see the batteries evolve to have, better range as well, better recharge times, all that kind of stuff. When you start pouring money into this stuff, it's going to be way better than the original first generation electric vehicles are, just like how, we see the light years of progress that have happened with the iPhone or anything like that in the past, decade or so. It's going to be the same kind of thing here with these vehicles having much better power. They also say it'll offer plenty of space for four, and that other models on this platform will follow as well, of course. And so anyway, very cool to see that. But Mercedes has also announced a bunch of new product plans this week, with the biggest announcement being the launch of a new brand called Mythos, which will build highly exclusive collectible cars for the most dedicated enthusiasts and collectors of Mercedes-Benz. And so the first one they're teasing here is a speedster version of the SL, which will be just like the speedster versions of, the Vantage and, the Icona series stuff you see from Ferrari. It's that kind of thing with the Icona series being, one of the main competitors to this. And so this is part of their push further up market to increase profit margins despite the challenging market conditions. So I guess, they're like, hey, there's a ton of super rich people that keep buying all these multi-million-dollar cars. I guess we'll just churn out a bunch of those, and that, fills in for probably, 100,000 A-class sales or something. So like, why not, just sell to all these super rich people. And especially with this chip shortage, if they only have so many chips to go around, and the fact that they're talking about this for the next several years makes me think that Mercedes isn't planning on the chip thing getting any better anytime soon. So they're like, well, we'll just build all the expensive stuff and everyone else can shop elsewhere if they want a cheap Mercedes, I guess. So yeah, and they also say there's other top-end luxury models will be coming from Maybach as well, with Mercedes promising a Maybach version of the SL along with a new Maybach coupe. And this new Focus also means they're actually going to slim down the entry-level segment of their lineup. And so they didn't say exactly what models they're getting rid of, but they said, their CEO recently said they'd rather be looking up than down. And in Europe, their plan is to go from 7 entry-level models to 4. We already know the A-Class is going away here in the States, and it sounds like the CLA might be here to stay still, but it wouldn't shock me if the GLA went away, since the GLB clearly is the better seller and is so close in price. But we'll have to see what they end up doing. But apparently it just sounds like Mercedes isn't too worried about those cheaper models. They still say the core stuff will stick around. There will still be C-classes and things like that, but they're not worried about it anything lower than that. So, don't hope for any kind of, new entry-level Mercedes model. I think they're abandoning all that kind of stuff. But, so that's very interesting. And, so we'll just have to wait and see, how they, actually put that into practice here. But, yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that actually goes for them with, those ultra high-end models with that Mythos brand and stuff. Other stuff here, Maserati has again teased the convertible version of the MC20. This time they have named it. It's going to be called the MC20 Cielo, which is Italian for sky. So we don't get any new pictures of it here. We have some pictures from back in December, I believe, when they last teased it. But we do get a reveal date now of May 25th. So I'll be covering all the details on it next week here. So cool to at least get the name. Pagani has also teased the new C10 hypercar that'll be debuting on September 12th. We now have a reveal date for that and a little silhouette image here, and it looks pretty cool with the stacked body lines there around the C-pillar area. And they say it still will be using a V12, thankfully, which is also great to hear. But other than that, we don't have any other info on it yet, but cool to get that. Land Rover has also teased a Defender 130, which will be a stretched version of the 110 to allow for a more spacious third row. We've been hearing about this thing in the works for a good long while now. It's an easy moneymaker for them. Yeah, I think they said it's going to be about 14 inches longer than the current Defender, and should just make it a little bit more family friendly. And so we have the one shot here of it, throwing up sand to conveniently hide some of that extra length in the back there. But we'll be getting the full reveal here on May 31st. So I'll be covering that here in about 2 weeks. So cool to see that. Lexus has also teased the next generation RX that's coming for the 2023 model year. And so we just get the one close-up of the front here, revealing a very chiseled bumper and headlights along with the usual Lexus grille shape. Although the top of the grille appears to be a little bit different there with the body color portion, which is an interesting change, but it'll be revealed on May 31st as well at 8 p.m. and I actually will be there for the reveal. I'll be at Toyota's headquarters where they'll be revealing that model, and so I'll hopefully be able to do a hands-on kind of walk around of it here. So stay tuned for that in-person coverage on the RX in a couple of weeks. For some other Lexus news here, they gave the UX some improvements for the 2023 model year, and it is now hybrid only for 2023, and the name is now UXh as a result. So the exterior is still the same, but the interior gets some big improvements here. The biggest being the new infotainment screens, which are now touchscreen finally, just like other Lexus models have moved to, and it ditches the controller pad, thankfully. The base screen is still just 8 inches, but the new optional screen goes from a 10-inch screen to now a 12.3-inch screen, which is, I think, the same one we get in the current generation RX. They just upgraded that a year or two ago. It also now runs the new Lexus software from the NX, and to accommodate that screen, the dashboard has been redesigned with new air vents, a larger wireless charging pad, and 2 USB ports have also been included in those changes. Mechanically, the hybrid system and the engine are unchanged. but the steering and suspension have been retuned for better comfort, and there's actually 20 extra spot welds that were added for better structural rigidity. And then on top of that, there's also new F Sport packages. So there's a new F Sport design package and an F Sport handling package. So the design one just adds the same F Sport appearance stuff on the outside and inside that we've seen before, but the handling package now brings performance tuned dampers and the active variable suspension along with a brace for the steering gear. And so all that should really help it to handle a good bit better. And lastly, all 2023 UXh's will get the newest Lexus safety system that gives you adaptive cruise control and lane tracing assist, among other features. And these should be starting to arrive at dealers by the end of the summer, but there's no updated pricing for those yet. Toyota also revealed several special editions here this week, and so I'll go through them very briefly. Nothing super earth-shattering, but first up, there's a new version of the Nightshade edition for the Camry for 2023. It now gets bronze wheels, but everything else is blacked out on the trim. It also gets the new blacked out grille from the TRD version, along with slightly darker headlights and taillights. And all Camrys are now available in this new reservoir blue color, which is the new color here for 2023. Interestingly though, 2023 Camrys don't appear to get the new infotainment software that other Toyotas seem to be getting for 2023, which also means there's no wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto either. So I'm not sure why, considering this screen is running the new software and like even the Corolla for 2023. So there doesn't seem to be any limitations as to why it's not getting it. I don't know if maybe they just didn't bother because maybe next year we'll have an all-new Camry or something. I'm not sure what the deal is, but it seems kind of strange they didn't improve that. But anyway, cool to get that little improvement. Next up, Toyota has a new SX package for the Tundra and Tacoma for 2023. It can only be added to the SR5 model, and on the Tacoma, it gets black wheels and trim, along with a bedside graphic. On the Tundra, it's pretty similar, but instead it gets gray wheels, and also deletes the Tundra badge from the doors. And the Tacoma SR5 also has a new chrome package, if you want to go the opposite direction. That adds chrome door handles, wheels, exhaust tips, and chrome Tacoma badging on the tailgate. So that's the new little things here for the Tundra and Tacoma. And this also confirms there is no new Tacoma for the 2023 model year. So you're looking at least a 2024, once the new Tacoma finally does arrive. The last Toyota to get a special edition this week is the 2023 Sienna, which gets a 25th anniversary edition to commemorate 25 years of the Sienna being here in the States. And since it's the silver anniversary for the 25th, it comes in celestial silver or in white. They did allow you to get white as well. And it's based on the XSE trim and its sportier setup with the wheels and stuff being from the XSE. But it does blend in some of the nicer options from the limited trim, including a driver memory seat. The front seats also are heated and cooled. The rear seats get leg rests. And you also get the JBL stereo upgrade, wireless phone charger, roof rails, badges, illuminated sill plates, and there's some special floor mats. It's going to be available in either front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive like any other Sienna. And there's no pricing yet for these, but these ones will be a little bit more special because they're a little bit more exclusive. They're making 2,525 of them for the 25th, and so that one actually will be a little bit hard to get your hands on if you are someone who wants the unique packaging of the XSE with some of those limited features. It's kind of a cool combo. Yeah, they didn't say when those will be available, but I'm guessing sometime here in the next few months. One last special edition here this week, not from Toyota, but this one actually from Chevy. They're offering a Redline edition for the Bolt EUV for the 2023 model year. So it follows the mold of other Redline Chevys with black and red accents on the unique 17-inch wheels, along with the mirrors, seats, and trim all get the same theme. It'll be available in black, silver, and white. And also prepare for lots more Bolt commercials because apparently GM Authority is claiming that GM is going to be spending a ton of money to advertise the new Bolt EUV, with only the Silverado having more ad dollars on it. So basically it's the second most advertised Chevy here this year coming up with the Bolt EUV. So I mean, I've actually been seeing a bunch of commercials already for it. Get prepared for a lot more Bolt commercials here. So trying to come back from, they had the production delays and they kind of paused production because of recalls and stuff. that's all been sorted supposedly, so now they're ready to ramp up and really push the boat hard for those looking for an electric Chevy right now. The other quick Chevy story here is that for the 2023 model year, you'll now be able to get the Tahoe and the Suburban with the Super Cruise now. So this is assuming there's enough chips for it, because previously they haven't even been able to do the auto stop start function in those vehicles because of the lack of chips. But if they can actually find the chips for them, you will be able to get a Tahoe or Suburban in 2023 here with Super Cruise. It'll be only available on the top Premier and High Country trims, but still great to see that Super Cruise is starting to trickle down to other models. It's still hands down the best hands-free driver assistance system out there, and really one of the only ones out there aside from Ford's Blue Cruise. So very exciting that they're continuing to roll that out here into more vehicles. And so yeah, hopefully there's enough chips to actually put it in the Tahoe and Suburban. And the last news story this week is that Subaru has announced that it plans to build a new factory in Japan specifically for building its electric vehicles sometime after 2027. So still a few years away, but it's part of a $1.9 billion investment to eventually increase EV production to keep up with the growing demand, especially in America, which they say in the past year they've seen a huge growth in interest and in sales of EVs. And so all car companies are scrambling to try and meet that demand, because they're like, whoa, this is taking off way faster than we were expecting it to. And so everyone's scrambling. And so given that these EVs, though, they say are built primarily for their North American customers, it's surprising that the factory will still be in Japan, considering a lot of other companies are pledging to, build all these factories here in the States. It's interesting that they're choosing to still build them in Japan and have the extra cost of shipping them, across the ocean to have them here in the States. But still, they're the first Japanese company to announce a dedicated EV factory. All the current EVs are, built in other factories that are shared with other models. So it's pretty big that they're that convinced about the EV thing at Subaru that they're going to build a factory just for EVs here soon. And so anyway, very interesting to hear that. But lastly, I just want to thank all of you who are members of the Matt Moran Motoring Club. I really appreciate the support. This week we didn't have any new members join, but I wanted to give a shout out to member Joshua Krebs, who is a member, has been a member for a couple of months now. Huge thanks, Joshua, for your support here over the past couple of months. Hopefully you're enjoying the perks, and I hope all the members are enjoying the perks. Hopefully you enjoyed the live stream here this past week, and me answering and your questions and kind of hanging out there. It was a ton of fun doing the live streams, it always is, but hopefully you guys enjoy that extra perk of getting the priority answer there in the live streams. But anyway, if you'd like to join the membership, there's a button here if you're watching on a computer, both on the video page and on the channel page. There's also a link in the description, but I believe you do have to be on a computer to join. I know a few other people were trying to figure out how to join in the live stream, but I believe you have to have a computer to join, unfortunately. But anyway, that's it for all the news this week, guys. So let me know your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.